This is cs952, Introduction to Web Technologies and Design, and when we last left off, we had taken this code that's inside of this div, it's a member of the class form group, and we added that to our snippets so that we could add it several times onto the page, save, use it for later. So let's start using those snippets. So I'm going to click right after my closing div tag, but before my closing form tag. See where my cursor is? And I'm going to hit the enter key just to give myself a little extra room to work with. I'm going to go under Window, and let's open up our snippets. You can also use Shift F9. And our snippet is in our Bootstrap snippet, so I'm going to click on the little plus icon to open up my Bootstrap snippet. So I'm going to scroll down, and right there it is, Form Group. And with Form Group selected, I'm just going to hit the Insert button. And there we go. We've added it to the page. I'm going to hit the Enter key on the keyboard, and I'm going to hit Insert again. I'm going to hit the Enter key on the keyboard to give myself another line, and I'm going to hit Insert again. And now I can close this. We're done. Okay, so basically we have first name 4 times on our page. A little bit more than we need, but that's okay. Now the first thing I want to do is take this div that we have that says, it's the first copy that we made. It says label for first name, first name, first name, first name. I want to change everywhere that it says first name, I want to change it to last name. So I'm just going to change the word first and replace it with the word last. And we can do that using Dreamweaver's very powerful find and replace feature. You can get to that using Control F, or we can go down here under Edit and choose Find and Replace. Now we want to make sure yours may not be, you may have current text selected. You may have current document selected. You may have current document selected. Make sure that you have selected text in your Find and Replace box. Otherwise, if you have current document selected, it's going to change everything in that whole page that we're working on. It's also going to undo the work that we did previously. So we want to make sure that we have selected text. Then it says search the source code. And what we want to do is we want to change the word first, F-I-R-S-T, and it's only going to do it in the selected text, right? Just that text that we highlighted. And we want to replace it with last, L-A-S-T. And let's hit Replace All and see what happens. Okay, Dreamweaver is telling us it replaced the word first with the word last, did that 5 times. So let's have a look here. So this is our div, label for last name, great. And it says last name. Whoops, I could capitalize that L there. Input name is last name, type equals text, required, form control, ID equals last name, and then the placeholder. Yeah, I'm going to change it to a capital L as well. Now there's one more thing that I want to do. I'm going to refresh the page so that I get a current code view down here in my property inspector. I've got my cursor right here in my input group. If we look down here in the status bar, we can see there's our input selector. I want to change that tab index from 1 to 2. That's all. Everything else we're good with. So we're all set for our last name. Now let's go to our next group. We want to change all the instances where it says first name. We want to change that to email. We can't quite do it quite as zippy fast as we did for the other one, but we can get a little help. So I'm going to highlight first name, drag over that to highlight that, and I'm going to copy. And that's just so I don't have to type the word first name again. And I'm clicking on my div here, clicking on div in the status bar, and I'm going to go to Edit and again choose Find and Replace. And I'm going to paste in what I just now copied, right? That was first name. Oops. Let me type that in. First underscore name and replace it with email. Okay? Let's hit Replace All. And we'll get a message that did that 3 times. Let's look at our... So, class is form group. This is the label for email. Okay? First name. No, we want this to actually be email. All right? Input name equals email, type equals text, required class, form ID equals, and then for our placeholder text, yep, we want that to be email, E-M-A-I-L. I'm going to hit refresh because we've been making some changes to the code, and we'd like to get a little help here. I know that when I click on my input name, I want to make sure I set my tab index to 3. This is so that when you're hitting the tab key, it'll automatically take you through the different fields that you're working on. And the other thing that we need to change is our input type. Right now our input type is set to text, but we want that to be email. So let's just type email, E-M-A-I-L. So we're all set to go now with our email form. If we have a look, let's jump over here to live view real quick. We can see contact, first name, last name. We've got email. So now we're going to tackle this this fourth group. I'm going to switch back here to code view. We're actually going to get rid of these. We're going to get rid of this input here. We don't need this. So I'm just going to hit delete. I've selected it in this. I've selected my input in the status bar. I'm going to hit delete, and I'm going to get rid of this label. Dreamweaver would like me to hit refresh first, and I'm going to click on that label and delete. Basically, this is what I wanted to keep. I wanted to keep our div with the class of form group. So I'm going to hit refresh. And what we're going to do is we're going to add a radio group. We're going to add a yes/no button. We do that by putting our cursor right here inside of our div. And we're going to go under insert. We want to make sure that we have form properties selected, okay? And then we want to scroll down here until we find radio group. This is going to be one of those buttons that says, do you want to join our email list? So we want to choose a radio button group, which means we're going to have more than one button because we want to have a yes button and we want to have a no button. Let's click on a radio button group, and when we do that, we need to fill out a little bit more information. Now, for our name, the default is radio group 1. We want to change that to email, E-M-A-I-L, underscore list. Now our first label is going to be yes. So you type in yes. Now I'm going to hit the tab key. It takes me right over to the next field, which is the value field. And we're going to type in yes. So yes is, the label part is what you see. The label is going to be yes, but the actual value is going to be yes. That's good. But you could do something where, like, say maybe the label is yes and the value is 1. The label is yes and the value is 10, something like that. The label and the value don't necessarily have to be the same thing. And then for my next label, I'm going to type in no for folks who don't want to be on the email list, and we're going to set a value of no. Okay, so we are good to go, and I'm going to say OK. And so now we've got this label that's been added here, right? Input type radio. I'm going to click on my input here for my yes, and I'm going to give it a tab index of 4. And now I'm going to hit save all, and we're going to come back and do just a little bit more with our form group.